All right, we'll get started with today's press conference. We'll start with the opening statement from Coach Patterson, then we'll just jump right into questions right after.
Well, before we get started, obviously, I'd like to, send our thoughts and prayers with the young man who went down today from Kansas. Not sure about the nature of the injury, but definitely that we want to send out our thoughts and prayers from the Texas Tech football family to him and his family as well. It was a good win, man. I'm proud of our seniors. It was a gritty performance. It's just winning is hard. I don't care. It's never gonna be easy, and that's what my message was to the players, and I'm very, very proud of them and the way they just kind of hung tough, and excited to send those seniors out of here with a 4-2 record at home. That's big in moving our program forward.
All right, we'll start with questions. We'll start with Jared.
Hey, Coach, the team was able to overcome 4 turnovers, 3 missed field goals because of the great performance of the defense. Can you kind of speak to that?
Yeah, obviously, missed opportunities in the first half. I've seen it so many times. You sit there and if you don't take advantage of those scoring chances early in the game, man. So many times they come back to get you, and I was hoping it didn't come down to that. But I was very proud of our defense. I thought they were without Rico and Eli and some of those older guys, some missing parts, lack of depth in defensive line, man. I was really, really proud of the effort in which those guys played today. I mean, really big on third down, 4 fourth down stops, big stops. That one right there with I think somewhere around 3.5 to go in the game was big. But, like I said, I can't say enough good things, man. It's a player's game, and those guys just fought their hearts out.
Can you speak about Jacob Morgenstern, what he's meant to the team? He seems like he's really stepped up these last couple weeks.
Yeah, he has. He's just a big, tough, guy that I don't know how many snaps he's played this year, but he's beat to. I don't know if he could play another game, just to be honest with you. He's beat up bad. I'm so proud of him. His body wasn't right all week long, and but for him to go out there and just fight, and it just shows you the resiliency of not just the senior class, but what we've tried to instill in these young men. And man, I've been very, very proud of Jacob. He comes over constantly throughout the course of the week, and his preparation is incredible. What I've asked him to do defensively. He's played probably 4 different positions in our defensive scheme, so he's been very versatile. And like I said, I just can't say enough good things about the young man.
We'll go to Eric Kelly.
Coach, what was the adjustment like for you going from defensive coordinator to head coach for a game? Was it weird, or was it pretty easy for you mentally?
I just, it wasn't really weird, on a much smaller nature. I'd been an interim head coach at the University of Pittsburgh for a bowl game. I had a coaching staff this time. I only had 3 coaches missing. We had like 7 coaches missing that day. So this was, obviously we have great coaches on our staff. Leaned heavily on, David and Mark, in making sure that our communication was good, and we were on point, and we had a plan going into, 4th downs and situations that are going to arise in the course of the game. We had a plan. We just stuck to it. It was definitely an adjustment. It just creates a little bit more stress on you, where it's one thing just to like bear down, just focus on stopping your opponent. But now you're sitting there, because you never know what situations and scenarios are going to come up. And when not a lot of time to school yourself in 48 hours. So I just kind of took it with a grain of salt And again, we have great leadership and great coaches on our staff, and I just leaned heavily on those guys and really continued to focus on trying to stop those guys.
Go to Phil.
Coach, I know it's obviously a very different situation, but what were you able to take away from that bowl game you coach at Pitt against SMU?
Other than I was glad it was over. I mean, that was you want to talk about stressful. That was maybe one of the most stressful. I mean, I just moved my family all the way across the country, and after one season, our head coach left and took another job. And we had played Syracuse on that Saturday. My father had passed away on Thursday morning, so literally as soon as we had beaten Syracuse in the 12th game of the year, man, I jump in a police car. They take me to the airport, and I fly home for my father's funeral. Get back on the road the next week recruiting. And after that game, 3 of our coaches had left. I get back. I come back, and I'm recruiting at Pittsburgh, and our head coach leaves and takes 4 more coaches, and we didn't have anyone that had ever called the offense. So that was a very stressful day, to say the least. So today was a lot more, obviously, like I had pointed out earlier. I mean, we still had our coordinators all in place. So, the stress level wasn't anything like what it was on that particular day.
Go to Don.
So Keith, in the last 48 hours, how much communication, if any, did you have with Matt?
Yeah, that's if you know Matt, you're going to have communication with him. He was calling me constantly, but he wasn't overbearing. I mean, he did a great job of just communicating through Zoom, number one, and then calling me and saying, hey, let's discuss this. Let's discuss everything from here's how we're going to handle the coin toss. Here's how we're going to handle. We went through, like I said earlier, game type situations. 4th down on our side of the 50, 4th down on their side of the 50, just things like that. That typically and how he manages those situations. So it was really a collectively group effort. So he would communicate to me what's going on. I got with Mark and David yesterday, and we kind of sat down and just make sure that, hey, because we talked about there could be a situation if I need to make a defensive adjustment in something and I have my back turned to the sideline, we had to have a plan for that because, we had to make sure that we got, then the other dynamic, we didn't have Randolph today. So we lose our D-line coach. Now that just created a little bit more anxiety and like going, man. So I pulled Kaz down out of the box to kind of manage the sideline for me when I walked away. So it really it went pretty smooth.
So when was the last time that you and Matt spoke before the game?
Probably, I don't know what time we kicked off it. I want to say he called this morning. We talked at the hotel. Dave and I had one thing that we discussed with him sitting in the dressing room just prior to going out. So probably about almost up to about an hour before the game.
Go back to Jarrett.
Hey, Coach, it's been such an unusual year with the bowl game criteria, no one really knowing exactly who might go to a bowl game, and the regular season having just ended. Has anyone talked to you about what your schedule might be like this week? Like, are coaches coming back tomorrow to the facility and everything and going over things?
Yep, we have a 3 o'clock defensive staff meeting tomorrow, and we're going to the basketball game at 12:45. Then we're going to have a staff meeting at 3. Just to, never stops. And we'll probably know a little bit more moving forward, what next week looks like. But as we got, again, the other dynamic that I was just talking about earlier was you got seniors, who are trying to get as much information as they can get on, trying to make the best decision for their future, come back to move on. So, there's just a lot of things that have to be wrapped up. And, I have no idea on anything as far as postseason play. Don't even know anything about it, to be honest with you. I've just kept my nose down, and obviously recruiting is going to take a big, will be on the front burner this week. Again, another type challenge, just trying to get kids to, come to your university, and you don't have the opportunity to go off and leave campus. So that's another challenge that's created a little bit of stress as well.
Go to Billy.
Hey, Coach, talking about Xavier White, he had 14 rushing attempts for 135 yards and led the way in receiving. Can you just talk about his performance today, how he kind of led the way, and even Miles Price did as well with that 70-yard run?
Yeah, that was a big run for Miles. And, yeah, I thought Xavier was running hard, and I know that he feels horrible, about, gotta have great ball security. And, but he did. He was running hard. I mean, he's so explosive, man. I mean, he was really explosive through, some of those gaps. And, I mean, when he hit it, I thought he was running really hard early. And then just obviously, protecting the football.
All right, we'll finish with Don.
He's on the subject of Xavier. What did you think of the taunting penalty call?
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at it on the jumbotron. Looked to me like I think maybe he pointed at him, and that, I mean, from what I could gather, I'm not sure. It looked like maybe he pointed at him, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know if he did or he didn't. But it's one of those deals where that they've really put a major emphasis on that rule the last couple of years, and it's just one of those things. You just got to be, you just got to be disciplined in that situation. And man, hey, try to get that ball in the end zone. Because the defender was coming from behind. I mean, he was screaming behind and really took a shot on the ball. And so again, that's something that he'll learn from that for sure.
Also, I'm sorry. Did Roderick get hurt again, or why did he kind of disappear?
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't know the nature of it, but I went up to him and asked him, and he was, so, yeah, I don't know. That's just my assumption.
All right, we'll finish with Eric Kelly.
Coach, on those 2 fourth down stops, obviously the last one was kind of necessary for Kansas. They had to go for it regardless, but on those 2 that you guys stuffed them,
that would be 4, Eric.
I think it was maybe 2 or 3. One of the other.
4. Say it again. 4.
4. But the ones on the running plays, was that just kind of the idea that if you guys were going to bear down and there was no way they were going to run past you at that point? Yeah,
I was just very aggressive. If they would have tried to throw it, I mean, I without watching video, yeah, I was very aggressive on all 5 of those 4th downs, to say the least. And I just early in the game I could sense when I did pressure they were having trouble, so I stayed with it for the most part throughout the course of the game, and just going to try to make that quarterback under put him under duress and make him try to sit in there and try to stick his cleats in the grass and fire it in there consistently. And I haven't really looked at the stat sheet that much, but I don't know if we sacked him. I know that we were impacting him, whether we sacked him or not, or bounced off of him a little bit. He was an elusive guy, man. I mean, there was a few times there that I rushed 4, and I was playing man under 2 deep, and he got out of containment. I thought we could keep him corralled with a 4-man pass rush, but he was able to get out and scramble for that first down. That was a big play that led to their touchdown.
All right, that'll do it for Coach Patterson. We'll have probably Colin Schooler to start us off with players here in just a few minutes.
All right, guys, I've enjoyed it.
Gonna pull up a chair. Oh, this way. Chinese fire drill.
All right, we'll start with questions for Colin Schooler and Tony Bradford Jr. We will start with Eric Kelly.
Just for both you guys, you can answer in whatever order you want. On those fourth down run stops, was that just a matter of you guys saying, listen, there is 0% chance that they're going to run it down our throats on these plays?
Yeah, we have a front seven. We have basically a code where the ball doesn't run through the heart of our defense. So we take pride in that. And if you look back at the stat sheet, they were 1 for 5 on fourth down. I think that was a huge part of this game and getting our offense on the field and getting the defense off.
I mean, yeah, it's just about having a sense of urgency and knowing that if we get this stop, we're off the field. You know, we can get a chance to give the offense a chance and take the ball at a great field possession depending on where the ball is located. So it's like go out and just grind it out and finish and take them down behind the line of scrimmage.
How important was that for you guys, even more so kind of knowing last week how Oklahoma State was able to run the ball on you guys a little bit, cutting down in that area?
I definitely took it personal because, you know, it's obviously start with the D-line and then the linebackers, of course. And so it's like I told the D-line this morning, I'm like, man, we got to redeem ourselves. We have to. There's no way we can let that ball run through us like it did last week. You know, it's just a shout out to everybody that participated in that and made a great effort in stopping the run.
Yeah, I'm piggybacking off of what he said. Not every team gets another opportunity to redeem themselves, especially with the way COVID's going with 2020 and how crazy this year's been so far. So we were fortunate enough to have an opportunity to redeem ourselves, and I think we did a pretty good job doing that today.
Go to Don Williams.
For either one of you guys, how does it affect the intensity of a game when you see a player like Kansas's linebacker goes down, looks like a possibly serious injury, and then has to be, taken off on the backboard and stretcher?
It's for sure scary. We know how dangerous this sport can be, and we practice and we teach safe techniques and situations to keep both players safe, offensive and defense. But it was for sure scary for both sides of the ball. I know I was sick to my stomach seeing somebody get carted off. That's somebody's son. That's somebody's brother. So it was hard watching that, but I hope he's okay. Our whole team's praying for him. We talked about that after the game. But it was for sure scary for us to watch that.
Yeah, this game is physical and it's a competition, but you never want to see nobody go down like that, especially getting carted off the field. It just makes you just wakes you up, letting you know that you just never know when that player is when you could be in that situation, or when it's technically your last play or whatever for a game. So we prayed for him, and we just wish the best and hope for the best for him.
Go back to Eric Kelly.
Again, a question for both of you guys. Listen, you want to win every game, but how nice is it to get a win for your DC turned interim head coach, the guy who kind of goes to war with you guys every day?
We treated the game as if we had Matt Wells as the head coach. We didn't play any harder or less because of an interim head coach. We preached throughout the whole entire season is you never know what's going to happen. It could be a player, it could be a coach, it could be whatever. So when somebody does go down, it's got to be the next man up. And this whole week, or towards the end of this week, was a prime example of us doing that and going out and executing without our traditional head coach, but having our interim one too.
It's a player's game, so no matter which coach go down, we're still expected to go out there and give it our all and do what we're supposed to do as a team, and I think we were successful in that today.
Go back to Don.
Tony, last week the offensive line had to adjust to their position coach being out. What was the defensive line, I guess, communication and like today, and what was the time like on the sideline when you guys were off the field? Who was kind of in charge of y'all, and how did that go?
It was honestly more smooth than what I was expecting. We had Coach Cosgrove. He was kind of helping out with us and with the rotation, and Coach Troy Kimmer, and obviously Coach Kirby in the box, our GAD line coach. So I mean, it's obvious that we would love to have Coach Randolph out there, but I mean, like Schooler just said, I mean, you just never know who's gonna go down with this virus going around. So I mean, we adjusted to it. I mean, we did what we had to do. We was rotating good. We was communicating well, and we played good.
Go back to Don.
What was it like for the defensive players to win a game for Coach Patterson? That was his first win as actually a college head coach.
I think going into this game, we were more focused on the seniors and having a winning record at home than playing for a coach. We play for coaches and ourselves every single week, so I think the intensity was the same as it was week one throughout the whole entire season. But it's just kind of cherry on top that it was his first win as a head coach. But that really didn't affect the way that we played this week.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's obviously a special shout out to Coach KP for stepping up, you know, when the time was needed. But I mean, like I said before, this is a player's game. We're expected to execute no matter who's in charge or whatever you want to call it. So I think we all did it on all three sides of the ball.
We'll finish with Eric Kelly.
Colin, you touched on it a little bit, but for both of you guys, how big was it to reach that accomplishment? You talked about finishing with a winning record at home, winning that last game that's guaranteed for you guys in 2020.
Yeah, it was a big win for us. Earlier this week we talked about respecting every opponent, and no matter what their record was, we're going to treat them as if they're just as good, maybe even better than us. So I think this week the focus was there, and I'm not surprised about the result from it. But having that winning record at home now is a sign that things are changing here, and the culture's changing, and the future's really bright.
I mean, this week, today, especially this morning, I just challenged myself to wake up and not be selfish and think of only me and only what I plan on doing. I thought of all the seniors. I thought of these coaches and their families and everything, and I was just like, man, we have to play hard for them. These guys been through a lot, and I mean, it means a lot to have that winning home record for them. I'm sure. I mean, they're going out as winners here at the Jones. That's what they're supposed to do, protect the Jones. And I mean, we did this season. It's just a shout out to all those seniors, man. We love them.
All right, that'll do it for this group. We'll likely be back with a couple offensive, or at least one offensive player here in just a few minutes. Thank you.
Thanks, y'all.
right, Erica Zakama is going to wrap it up for us today. We'll start with Eric Kelly.
Eric, what was the most frustrating part for you guys as an offensive group today?
Just not knowing what we wanted to do with the ball. We started out, going in, and we were throwing it, and we threw it. I got a target, and Miles got a target, but it got tipped up. And then after that, it was just like we're gonna run the ball for the rest of the game, and I felt like that was good. We were moving the ball down the field, but mental mistakes like fumbling and flags just held us back from that.
Turnovers have been an issue for you guys this season. In the end, what does that boil down to?
Just taking care of the football. Coach Yost always, harps on that. Coach Wells, all running back, Coach Smith. We all do ball security drills every Wednesday, Tuesday, and we harp on that a lot. And we just got to do better.
On the broadcast, I don't know if they didn't show it, but they mentioned you kind of going over the sideline late in that game and saying something to the coaching staff. What was kind of your message to them?
I just felt like, I wasn't really involved with this win. I had 2 receptions, and I'm not going to sit here and act as if, selfish or anything like that. But I feel like me getting the ball just helps out the team a lot more. And, at one point in the game, it was just like we're sitting here and we're literally trying to give Kansas the game. And I'm trying to do anything I can in order for them not to win. And I'm glad we came out to win, but it was kind of ugly.
We have any other questions? All right, that'll do it for Eric. Thank
Appreciate y'all.